Well, hello, I'm in Istanbul, and what's behind me is the famous Serpent Column. It was made in ancient Greece in the 5th century BC, and now it's in Istanbul in 2025 AD. So how did that happen? Well, when the Great Persian invasion happened in 480 BC, a lot of the Greek city-states, 31 of them, banded together to form an alliance. And they defeated the Persians at two crucial battles, one on sea at Salamis in 480, and then in the next year at Plataea on land in 479. The leader of the Greek alliance that day was a Spartan general called Pausanias. Now, after the Greeks had successfully kicked the Persians out of the Greek mainland, they decided to put a monument to what they'd done up in one of their great pan-Hellenic sanctuaries at Delphi. And usually, or often, the Greeks would put out victory monuments in the form of a cauldron resting on a tripod, and the cauldron would usually have an inscription on it. And that's what they did here. Except in this case, they also decided to place the cauldron and the tripod on top of this magnificent serpent column, a bronze column in the shape of the coils of a serpent that would have been 8 meters high at the time. The reason it's shaped like a serpent is because Apollo is worshipped at Delphi as Pythian Apollo, the slayer of pythons. Originally, this monument would have actually had 3 serpent heads at the top as well, and the tripod would have sat on top of these serpent heads. And so the Greeks placed this monument in Delphi. There's a little bit of controversy. Some of our sources tell us that Pausanias originally put an inscription on the monument that stressed his role as leader of the Greek forces that day. A lot of the other Greek city-states weren't so happy with this, so they actually remade the monument with a simpler inscription stressing the contributions of these Greek city-states to the pan-Hellenic, or the Hellenic, we should say, because not all Greek city-states joined the alliance, the Hellenic alliance. So the inscription was actually very simple, and it's still on there today. It's not really visible with the naked eye, but it is still on there. And it just says, Toide ton polemon epolemion. In other words, these guys fought the war, these city-states fought the war. And then there was a list on each of the serpent's coils of the names of the Greek city-states that battled off the Persians. And this monument stood in Delphi for something like 800 years, from just after the Persian Wars in 479 BC all the way to 324 AD. What happened in 324 AD? Well, the Roman emperor of the time, Constantine, he decided to found a new Rome, a new capital for the empire here, and it was called, of course, Constantinopolis, the city of Constantine. And in order to make this a worthy capital and to sort of create a glorious capital that had some of the splendor of the old Rome, he basically went around the empire and took nice things, took monuments, and he plonked them down here. And this is a great example. He took the Serpent's Column from its original context in Delphi, and he placed it in the middle of the hippodrome, arena for horse racing and chariot racing, which was a huge business in Constantinople. And then after 324, this monument stood in the hippodrome, and 1453, Mehmed the Conqueror and the Turks take Constantinople, and there's a legend that one of Mehmed's first acts is to smash off one of the serpent heads from the top of this column. That seems to be false, though. We have the accounts of early modern travelers who come here, a French traveler and an Italian traveler, who both describe the monument and they don't mention any damage. We also have some depictions in Turkish sources, paintings, miniatures, which show that the 3 heads are still on the columns. Whatever exactly happened, or I should say whenever exactly it happened, at some point the 3 serpent heads go missing. They fall off, or they're knocked off probably the top of this column. One of them is found years later in excavations around Hagia Sophia. It's now in the Istanbul Archaeological Museum. And this is now the form in which you'll see the Serpent Column in Istanbul. Really an astounding monument, a monument that was put up to commemorate an alliance of Greek city-states against the Achaemenid Persian Empire in the 5th century BC. And now you can still come and see it in the modern Muslim-majority city of Istanbul in 2025 AD.